Okay, it's a bumper off.
Bumper's
Ready
off.
to go, Al. You got your end out.
Yes.
Here we go.
And make sure also that you unplug your marker light assembly as you pull the bumper off. Let's go set this aside. Hey John, now that we have the bumper off and Nick's over there grabbing some tools, tell us a little bit about this rag joint, what we have to do right here in this area.
Well, that rag joint is a positive connection to the rack now. There will be no rag joint used. And we're just simply going to saw cut it and remove it from the main steering shaft, and we're finished.
Well, Nick, now what are you going to do to the rag joint that John was pointing out?
Well, you take a 9/16 wrench, you undo the backs of them, the nuts, take them off. There's two of them, just make sure both nuts are off. If you can't get these out, they should fall out when you pull the front end down.
When it all removes itself.
Yep.
So now we're going to go to the brake lines?
Yep, we're going to do 2 brake lines. This is a 3/8 fitting wrench to break loose these fittings so you don't strip them. So
Because they'll be utilized on the new application, right?
Yep. Was this one? I don't remember what this was, that's why I kind of hesitated. Then we'll be using a 9/16 fitting wrench to break loose the fitting on the bottom of the master cylinder.
Good. Now, guys, where do we go next? Now that we have the rag joint bolts unbolted, the brake lines unbolted for the master cylinder, what's next?
Well, let's see. We got the bumper off. We got the rag joint loose. We got the brake lines off. The only thing left is 6 body supports.
Nick, what do you got going on now?
Well,
I got
Al,
the 3/4 inch socket down there holding for you. What are you going to do?
I'm going to take the core support bolt out with this ratchet wrench here.
And we'll take out both front ones first?
Both front core support bolts, take them out with the same tools that you took your bumper off with.
Wow, that's pretty easy. Well, guys, now we got both the front support mounts off, the bolts. Where do we go to next?
We've got 4 more to go, so let's go to the middle. Need a little more light.
More or less.
Pull it out, Nick.
It's out.
Okay. What are you doing now, Nick?
Well, after taking the center frame bolts out, we're going to now move to the rear and remove the rear bolts.
Is it still the same size, 15/16?
Still the same size now. I do have to tell you, when you start removing the last bolt on the rear, make sure you hold the back of the frame. That's one. We got one more. Okay, now that we're going to remove this last bolt on the frame, you should really get a hand on the other side so the frame does not fall down on you.
Is that why you got old John under there, Nick?
Exactly. That's why I got old John.
Be careful, John.
Just keep calling me old. As you can see, these old Mississippi cars, the bolts just fall out of them.
There you go. Okay, let that thing come down slowly.
I think we're going to be good here.
We're good to go. We got enough clearance and enough height.
Looks all good up here. Looks
Pull
like
right
she's
out
come
of
right away from the bushings.
Okay. Looks good to me.
Now that we've removed all the body bolts and the bumper bolts, we do have to point out this washer here only came on Novas, so you guys with your Camaros, don't be alarmed if it's not there, and make sure this goes back in where it came out from. This is on the second body mount in the back.
Well, John, what's next? What do we do? Now that we have everything disconnected, where do we go to?
Well, I think you just did a checklist. You know that everything's disconnected. I think we'll just lower the front end down and hopefully the tires will clear. If the tires don't clear and your car's not high enough, you'll probably have to take the tires off, but we're going to try this.
So they could do it either way at home. You could take them off, then do it, or have the car jacked up high enough, then it may come out.
Depending on the height, exactly. So let's try it.
Let's go for it, Nick.
Everything clear over there, Al?
Yeah, everything looks good on my side.
Well, we might have to hold the back of the frame up now.
Okay, measuring from the here, make sure that your car is at least 37 inches high.
Okay, now let's see if we can.
All right, so someone's gonna grab the back of the frame, which will be Nick, to lift it up to give us a balancing point, and then
Roll it right out.
we'll roll it right out.
That's it. Let it go, Nick.
Wow. Wow, that was pretty easy. Man, goodbye 1972, and hello to the 21st century. Would you look at the craftsmanship and the difference between these two pieces? I'll tell you what, SmithRacecraft.com, these guys definitely have it going on. You know, Nick, after you were showing off with the Smith Racecraft front end, you lifted it up pretty easy. You think you can give us a shot of lifting this one up?
I don't think we're gonna be able to lift this one up, Al.
Come on, give it a shot. Let's see.
I might pop something.
We'll clean the mess up.
I can't even budge it right now.
That's all right, Nick.
I can get the back.
Good thing you're wearing black pants. In this application, Nick is taking off the driver's side fender well, which is mandatory to put in this Smith Racecraft front end. So we'll take off the driver's side fender well. You can take both off if you chose. In our application, we're going to just do the driver's side, and then we'll install the new front end. You all right with that?
We can move it once we get in there, too. I got it.
After we've removed the driver's side fender well, we're going to alter the passenger side fender well with it in place to clear the top pipe on the subframe. So what we'll do is we'll make a cut in this area, and we will come back down around this area right here, and that should give us enough clearance to get around the top of the frame.
Now you could use an air chisel.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, if you have the opportunity or the supply to use air, you can use an air chisel for this. As you can see in this application, Tucson Performance just opened its doors in 2005, and we haven't had enough money to buy an air compressor. So now we're going to go inside the firewall area and take a Sawzall and cut off the rag joint.
Well, Al, I'm gonna cut this where the rag joint would bolt on. I'm gonna cut it off here. And as you can see, I've already drilled a hole through this too.
So you're going to cut it closest to
So
the...
I'm gonna cut it
bracket.
as close as I can to this, so I have.
And John's going to hold the steering wheel steady so we can make a cut nice and clean. Nice cut. So that's the piece that we made the cut. You can see right below where the rag joint bolted on, we made the cut on the back side of it as close to the mold of this bracket.
You can keep going, keep going.
Yeah. Cock that way.
You gotta take the whole frame.
Yeah, but it's gonna...
Take the frame this way.
Well, after we've installed the front end and used the jack to get it in place, we're installing the center body mounts first.
Here, Corey. Talk about how it clears and everything.
You can see how the top of the frame clears the heater core and that our cut worked out pretty well to modify for this top pipe on the Smith Racecraft chassis. Nick is down there installing the other side of the body mount. And don't forget, again, we point out, use those stock shims that came only on Novas as you apply this body mount in the center of the body. And also you will have a bushing style with your kit, with your Smith Racecraft kit, as Nick is showing, that will be the bottom part of the bushing and the center part of the bushing.
Go up a little bit more. Now I'm installing the rear body bushings. Make sure you leave the front ones a little loose so you can pull the frame down and get these to fall in there. Otherwise, if those are too tight, you won't be able to pull the frame down far enough to get those in. Then you can go ahead and install your body bolts.